Well, for more on this, we're joined by Belkis Wille, who's an Associate Director in the Crisis, Conflict and Arms Division at Human Rights Watch. Belkis, first of all, thank you very much for your time and for speaking to us here at TRT World. Now, this report, it says that Israel knew aid workers were present when they carried out these attacks. What does this information reveal to you?
I mean, I think at the most obvious, it reveals that the system that the Israeli military has put in place by which aid organizations communicate the GPS coordinates for, the guest houses that they're staying in, their convoy movements, where they're providing assistance activities in, that system, which is meant to be one where when you share your coordinates, you are then assured safety and that you will not come under attack, that system is broken. Either it's broken or indeed Israel is not even trying to make the system work at all. But this is not how deconfliction, as it's called in this field, is meant to work. It really is meant to be an assurance that when aid organizations transmit their coordinates to the military, they are safe from attack.
And Belkis, I understand you are one of the writers of this report. You're involved in putting this report together. What else really stood out for you and shocked you?
Well, for one thing, it's important that we say these are 8 specific attacks where we were able to very clearly confirm that the aid organizations had repeatedly sent their GPS coordinates to the Israelis, and then an attack occurred without any prior warning. However, this is sort of a drop in the bucket, so to speak, because this accounts for 31 people having been killed and injured. Now, the total number of aid workers that have been killed in Gaza since October is over 250. So there are many more instances than this. And I think that number alone is shocking. The other thing I would add is that, when I was doing this research, speaking to aid organizations that are operating in Gaza, every single one of them told me because of these attacks, they are really having to curtail the aid work that they are doing in Gaza. They need to consider sending less people into Gaza to provide assistance because they know these people are at risk of being killed. And even when they're in Gaza, they need to limit their movements so significantly because of that risk of coming under attack.
And Belkis, on that, as the occupying power, is it not obliged to do more, not only to ensure that aid gets into Gaza, but also those delivering it, these aid workers, aid agency workers, are assured safety?
Absolutely. It is Israel's obligation as the occupying power to make sure that people in Gaza have access to what they need to live: food, water, medication, housing. All of those are things that are squarely within the obligations of Israel. Aid organizations are trying to fill the gap that is there, but it is not their duty or obligation to do so. That still remains with Israel. And in addition, of course, Israel is required under international humanitarian law, the laws of war, to minimize harm to civilians. And aid workers are civilians, and as such, like all other civilians, should not come under attack. And indeed, Israel should be assuring these organizations that they can meet the life-saving needs of people in Gaza.
As we mentioned a moment ago, policy experts have also concluded that there's no genuine concern from the US about Israel's war conduct in Gaza, Belkis, after the State Department failed to conclude Israel violated international law using US-supplied weapons. Now, they cited a lack of evidence. Does any of this come as a shock to you?
Well, this report coming from the State Department, as you said, it says that Israel likely violated international humanitarian law with U.S. weapons, but that it did not have enough evidence on any particular strike. Now, I would say that's very unfortunate. Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, Oxfam, and many other organizations provided the U.S. government with pages upon pages of evidence of abuses of international humanitarian law by Israel in Gaza. And the report also notes that the administration does not have enough information from Israel to understand the full picture, either of these potential international humanitarian law violations, or whether Israel is restricting aid. And that's frankly shocking coming from the US, such a close partner, security and military partner to Israel. The US should have from Israel detailed information on its rules of engagement, its proportionality calculus, and information from investigations it's done into attacks.
Belkis, we really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for speaking to us. Belkis Wille speaking to us there from Human Rights Watch.